Hi, my name's Jules Brooke and I'm the founder of Handle Your Own PR. And Dave has asked me to see if I could give some tips to some of his authors about how to get publicity for your book. So I've got a few different ideas here that I thought I would run through with you. The first thing I guess that you need to realise is there is a difference in the media for books that are self-published as opposed to books that have been published by a publisher, like an international publisher. So firstly, the internationally published books, so the ones by Simon & Schuster or Random House or any of those kind of publishers or smaller ones, with most of those, and particularly if they're fiction, you could go to some of the book reviewers. They're always interested. They are interested in book extracts. They might be interested in an interview with you even. But for people who have self-published books, I have now heard from a number of journalists, so it's not just one, who have said to me that because there is no gatekeeper for self-published books, so really there is nothing to stop you writing whatever you want to write, and they're not edited professionally in their opinion, so whether it is or it isn't, that's the perception out there. And as a result, a lot of those books, unfortunately, are being sent to journalists as an unsolicited, here's my book, see what you think of it, and they're going straight into the rubbish bin, and you don't want that happening with your book. So what you can do, and the easiest way of getting publicity for your book, is to take all this great stuff that's in your head, all the content that you've written in your book already, and one of the easiest ways to do it is to take your chapter headings, because you have spent time thinking about those headings, turn those headings into the heading for a media release, and then explain underneath how people can learn from you, I guess. That's really what you're looking for. So you can take your chapter heading and you can start to expand on it in 500 to 600 words, so it shouldn't be really, really long, but offer tips to people, offer advice, take all that great thought leadership that you have and start putting it out there into the world. And then at the bottom of any of those articles, you would always say, to find out more, so-and-so has written this book and it is available at, or you can send people to your website and say, to find out where it's available, go to my website. So that is the easiest way to do PR. The other thing that you need to do if you're thinking about doing that kind of PR is to think about your target market. Now, if your book is written for women, then morning TV, women's magazines, weekend supplements, they're all perfect for them. But if your book has been written for other business owners, then you want to get into the business media. Now, that doesn't just mean the Fin Review and the business pages of newspapers. There are loads of magazines out there for small business owners and for big business, depending on who it is that you're talking to. So there's everything from Australian Banking and Finance, which will get you through to those corporate people. If you're trying to talk to leaders, there's CEO Magazine and Company Director Magazine. And then if you're talking to small business owners, there are things like Dynamic Business, Business Acumen, and a whole host of other ones. So I guess the best thing for you to think about is forget about the hard sell. You don't have to do that, and you don't have to go out and say, guess what, I'm an author, I've written a book, because quite frankly, without wanting to hurt anyone's feelings, that kind of doesn't mean anything to anyone. But the content in your book is really valuable, and that's where you can start to write short synopsises of it, synopsises if that's a word, and start putting it out there as articles that other media will be able to use those articles. They will always give you a byline and they will direct people to your website at the end. So, of course, my other sort of ulterior motive is I'm a huge believer in you doing your PR yourself. The reason for that is that, firstly, you're a writer, so writing is really not going to be a problem for you. If that's the case, then why not go out and start getting your expertise out there and building direct relationships with the media yourself. The other thing is, if you use a publicist or a PR agency, you're really looking at, I would say, a minimum of $3,000 a month, having run my own PR agency for years, probably for a minimum of 3 months, maybe a $5,000 spend if you can get somebody to do a 6-week program for you. But what you need is consistent, ongoing PR in order to build your profile in the media. So do it yourself, save all that money. There's lots of ways that I can teach you, and I'm sure Dave will give you the link, but my business is called Handle Your Own PR. use the media contacts that I have and the tips that I've got there, or the training if you want some help, and start doing your own PR, because it can be really powerful. We've had lots of authors do it now and have astounding results. They're getting lots and lots of inquiries for their businesses. Their book sales are doing very, very nicely. And if you've got the audiobook as well, that's a really new format for the media. And from my discussions with various journalists now, they are all saying, wow, no one has ever pitched an audiobook to me, and I'd be really interested if I could get a sample for my readers, maybe the first chapter, or maybe some kind of a sample that will obviously, it will need to be informative, but something that would be a teaser for people that the media, a magazine or a newspaper could give away to their readers for free. And of course that will lead people hopefully to coming back and buying your audiobook as well. And then the last thing I would say about PR is what you can do with it. So once you get featured in the media, it gives you a whole heap of additional extras. It will increase your SEO. It means if anyone Googles you or the book, there will be a whole lot of articles written underneath that will be written by you, which will give you much more gravitas. It means that the awareness will go a whole lot further, and you can put it out on your social and increase your SEO. The algorithms on social media really, really favor media, so your posts will go a lot further. You can put it on your website as seen in, or you could have that little scroll that people have sometimes that just has a whole lot of logos to say, this is where we've been featured. So there's a whole lot you can do with PR. It's not really hard to do, particularly if you can write, because so you're 3/4 of the way there anyway. And I would encourage you to consider publicity as being a really important part of how to promote your book, because it is just so powerful. So I hope to see you in one of my courses, or that this has at least helped you and made you realise that PR is definitely what you should be doing to help promote your book.